Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me here. If you want to follow along, Genesis chapter 29, beginning in verse number 15. I'm not going to read this today because I'm kind of just going to tell the story of what's going on. It's kind of difficult to really pull too much of a lesson from this piece of the story because it's setting us up for what is going to happen. Jacob is going to and Laban obviously seemed to have a good relationship. And let me get this out of the way up front. We're going to be talking about a dowry and for the daughter. And since dowries are not something that we're really too accustomed to, a dowry was not a way that a man bought a bride. This is not like the mail order bride thing. What a dowry did, the purpose of the dowry was to establish to the young lady's father that the young man was financially able to take care of his daughter, and again was sincere in what he was doing, that he was willing to put up a financial stake in this, that he is truly interested in the daughter. And it tells us here that Laban, he's got two daughters. One was, the oldest was Leah, the youngest was Rachel. Verse 17 tells us that Leah's eyes were weak. Now, not 100% sure what weak eyes mean. There's some differing opinions about that. Some think that maybe Leah was cross-eyed. Others just that something was wrong. She just didn't see very well. And then some have went so far as to say she just had ugly eyes. Who knows? May have been all those things. But Rachel, on the other hand, it says that she was the bomb, as the kids call it. Everything about her. She was beautiful in form and appearance. And Laban brings up in verse 15 the conversation about work, and basically says, well, how much should I be paying you? What do you think will be a fair amount to pay you for the work that you've been doing here on my estate, on my farm? What would be a fair amount to pay you? And kind of opens the door for Jacob here. He said, I tell you what, you don't have to pay me. But man, I got the hots for your daughter, and I will work for you for 7 years if you give me your daughter's hand in marriage. Well, this is a good deal. And Laban jumps all over it. He obviously he likes Jacob, and I don't think, by the way, to get ahead of myself a little bit, and down the road Laban's going to mess over Jacob a little bit. But I don't think at this point he had any. I think he was being straight up with Jacob. Down the, just to give you, if you don't know the story, down the road, Jacob's going to get the bait and switch pulled on him. Laban's going to hook him up with Leah, the weak-eyed one, instead of Rachel. And I don't think that was his plan. For one thing, who knows, right? Leah may find somebody to marry. She may die in 7 years. I don't think he was thinking that at this point. I think that came up later. I think he was sincere. Jacob was sincere. And so they make an agreement. I'll work for you for 7 years. And Laban said, hey, that's good. I'd rather give her to you than anybody else I know. In verse 19, rather give her to you than anybody else, any other man. At least I know you work. You seem to be a straight up guy. So I'm good with that. And so Jacob served 7 years, and he was so in love that those 7 years they just flew by. It just seemed like a few days because he was so in love with Rachel. He was just infatuated with Rachel. And so we could take some lessons here, I think, that come from this story. One of them is again, I think Jacob shows us you need to be sure about who you marry. You just don't get into a deal to work for 7 years for a woman if you're not serious about this thing. He didn't rush into it. He was willing to pay the price for the woman that he loved. We could spend some time talking about the work that Jacob did. He's obviously a good worker, a hard worker, a diligent worker, and earning his keep. And then again, just the love that is obviously demonstrated here. We live in a world, and unfortunately, I will have to admit that on occasion, as a pastor, I have been party to some of these where you just kind of shake your head. You try to counsel, you try to talk to the young couple, but you just, I don't even know how to explain it. But these two, it appears, were sure of what they were doing. They were in love with each other and willing to pay the price that it took. If I was to take one lesson that I would want to draw from this, it's not so much to the young people who are thinking about getting married, but it's to the parents of the young people to train up your children, to raise them up, to be wise, to be careful, to look for a good, godly, God-fearing spouse. I think sometimes we act like many parents act like they're scared to say anything. Oh, I don't want to, I don't want to upset them, don't want to turn them against, whatever. That's our job. Our job is to teach our children, and that they would make wise decisions in not only their marriage relationship, but all of the relationships they find themselves in. Those who we run with, the friends around us, often make us. Very seldom in my life have I ever gotten into a whole lot of trouble when I was by myself. There's a bumper sticker I saw that said, beware of, I'm going to straighten it up, beware of crazy people in large groups. Most of the trouble I've gotten into in my life has been because of the group I was running with. So we need to be careful of our relationships and be careful of who we run with, and certainly be careful of who we choose to marry. You think about it. Have a good day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.